Are you planning to take the Step 1 exam in the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months, next year or so? Well, I got a treat for you. I'm going to share with you how I approached the exam and how I was able to score a 227 on the exam. It's a decent score, and right now Step 1 is pass-fail, so all you have to do is be able to pass it. And my method will make sure that you pass the exam for sure. Now I'll also share with you at the end what my friend did in addition to what I did to get a better score. He ended up getting a 239. What's up, guys? My name is Dr. Safo Asante. I'm a successful IMG. I'm an urgent care physician, and I enter you guys to help you match into residency. To be a successful IMG, matching is just the first step. And then you have to do other things to make yourself successful. And I'll be teaching you guys all those things. If you're interested, just stick along. First, let's talk about the STEP exams, right? So the Step 1 exam, how is it different from a regular exam that you guys are used to? Most of you guys who are watching these videos are foreign medical students, so you went to school outside of the US. Some of you never schooled in the US at all, so you might not be used to the way exams are created over here. And even if you did school over here, the USMLE is slightly different from the exams that you took in high school and the exams that you took in college. So what's the difference? Number one, the length of the exam. The exam is 8 hours long, and most of the exams that you take for high school, for college and so on, maximum maybe like an hour or two. So this is an 8 hour long exam. So not only do you have to know your stuff, you have to have stamina, because when your stamina goes down, you can also miss questions that you would easily be able to answer. So a lot of practice is needed. The next thing that's different is also we deal mainly with diseases that are more common in the US. So you might not have some of the things that you're used to back home, whether it's Nigeria, whether it's Pakistan, whether it's India, whether it's Germany, whether it's Poland, wherever you went to school. Things might be a little bit different in terms of diseases. So what you studied in medical school, you might have to study a little bit extra to get used to it. And then lastly, the way that they phrase questions are not straightforward. Most of the exams that you are used to basically just say, what is this? Boom, and it's a straightforward answer. But these questions, on the other hand, you get a stem, which basically this talks about the patient, and there's something in it that makes the question not that straightforward. So not only do you need to be good at answering questions, knowing the answers for the questions, you also have to be good at answering the kind of questions that they ask you. I'm not sure if that makes sense. So it's not as straightforward. So the length, the type of diseases that you're exposed to in the US, and the type of diseases that they cover, and also the kind of questions that they ask you. So those things are different when you're approaching the Step 1 exam. Now, once you know all of that stuff, how do you approach the Step 1 exam? For me, I approach the Step 1 exam by getting my resources together. So the resources that I use, where I use the first aid book. Everybody knows the first aid book, and the first aid book is money. Just think dollar signs. I love the first aid book. The second thing I used was UWorld. UWorld is a question bank of about, I think it's about 2,000 questions. I'm not 100% sure because it's been a while. I did the UWorld question bank to the end. I did it about 1.5 times in order to make sure that I remembered the questions, the answers, and the concept that I was supposed to get from it. The next thing that I used was Master the Boards. Master the Boards, I believe that was written either by Conor Fisher. I think it was written by Conor Fisher. Very good book, simple and easy to understand. Everything is laid out in a clear manner. I read that book to the end. All these books I read to the end. First aid I read multiple times. UWorld I did 1.5 times. I did first aid, UWorld, Master the Boards, and then I also did NBMEs. I did NBMEs. I think I did all the NBMEs that they had, and then on top of that, I did the UWorld comprehensive exam, and I believe I did the Kaplan comprehensive exam. And basically, the scores that I was getting on all of these, I think I got a 230 in the UWorld. And then I got close to the score that I got for the NBMEs. But of course, the first time I took the NBME, my score was horrific. And then the more I studied, the scores kept improving until I was comfortable and I went to take the exam. So those are the resources that I use. And I ended up scoring a 227. 227 is a decent score, but it's not great. 230s, 240s, 250s, those are great scores. So my buddy who ended up scoring a 230, and other people that I've noticed scored higher than I did. The one thing that I noticed that they did different from what I did was they did UWorld a lot more often. They did UWorld a lot more often. So instead of doing 1.5 times, they did like 3-4 times. They completely immersed themselves into how the questions were asked, the concepts that were being tested, and the answers for those questions. Now, UWorld questions are based on the kinds of questions that are asked in the exam. So if you're able to master those and fully master it, not just to take the exam, take the UWorld question bank to get a high score, but to truly make sure that you fully understand what it is that they're testing you on, you will end up getting a good score in step 1. The key to making sure that you do not fail the exam, from my point of view, is practice exams. So you study for it, you complete your UWorld QBank, and then you have to do the comprehensive exams. 1, to build up your stamina, and then 2, to make sure that you're getting good scores. If you're failing the comprehensive exams, you should not be taking the test. You're just putting yourself at risk of failing your steps. Don't rush the step. I think one of the most important things that you can do in applying to residency in the US, especially if you went to school outside of the US, is to make sure that you score well in all of your exams. And in step 1, which is pass, fail now, you have to make sure that you pass that exam and you do not fail that exam. Any kind of failure makes things a little bit more difficult for you. For me, I had a failure in my step 2 CS, but that's another thing. I might make a video on it later, but I've mentioned that in my other videos, so we won't talk about that here. Long story short, it made things a little bit more difficult for me when I was applying for the match. So I don't want you to be in that same position. Make sure that you take your practice exams, make sure you pass those practice exams, make sure you pass them. What are the practice exams again? The NBME comprehensive exams, I love those. Some people don't like them because they're hard, but I love them. And then your UWorld comprehensive exam and I think your Kaplan comprehensive exam. Do those to piece everything together, and you will have a passing score. And if it was a numbered exam, you would have a great score. Right? So I just got home from work. I'm going to go take a shower and go relax. In the meantime, I hope this video was good for you. Hit the like button down below, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next video. Peace.